If your Pulse chain is a layer one fork of Ethereum, I believe that a lot of people in the future, a lot of projects will have a copy on the Pulse chain. And I think a lot of people would like to know more about Pulse chain and talk about their project within the Pulse chain Twitter conference. What's the bad thing about that? Why do you see people get a bit upset about other people not chilling but talking about other projects that will have a copy on the Pulse chain?
There's nothing wrong with that at all. Well, I personally have no issues with anybody talking about their projects that are launching on Pulse Chain. Ultimately, yeah, everybody can talk about whatever they like. I just worry about, people shilling shit, to people that I love. That's all. But yeah, let's all talk about every project launching on Pulse Chain. We want as many projects launching on Pulse Chain as possible, so that everybody has, so that it's not a ghost chain, and so that everybody has their game that they can play, and ultimately we all want to win. But unfortunately in this game, for some people to win, others have to lose. And I just want to try and protect my friends from losing. That's all.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that are going to get copied over from Ethereum onto Pulse Chain that just flat out don't work, or they cannot work because they're calling back to Ethereum oracles, or just the way that the smart contract is designed and it's renounced and there's no admin key, so you can't change it. It's immutable, right?
Okay, I think I understand.
So on that chain, it's like everything, it's geared, the smart contract there on Cold, it's geared toward ETH. It's not geared toward Pulse. And it's on ETH for a reason. So there's no reason for it. But people will get copies of Colt or whatever, tons of different ERC20 copies
Okay.
that turn to ERC20s, but they do have value. Well, no, but listen, let me finish though. It's important. Like, no matter what, if it gets copied over and the liquidity gets harvested, there'll be Pulse on the other side of that pair that you can swap. I intend to take my Pulse copies, my Cult copies, and immediately swap them into Pulse Chain. I could care less about my Cult on Pulse Chain. I just want more Pulse.
I mean, I believe a lot of people will do that at this strategy. A lot of people care so much about Pulse chain that they're trying to make some the copies on the Pulse chain, or even get profit in other projects to merge it into the Pulse chain ecosystem. I mean, that's fair.
Guys, we have such an awesome community, and we have an awesome founder, and we're in a bear market. And the delay of Pulse Chain after two sacrifice and tons of other sacrifices and all these things, and then kind of the infighting. We've all gone on this journey together, right? We're here at the bottom of the bear. Everything's kind of crazy, but I think we should all be encouraged, because I think that what our community has, you can't really find it anywhere else. And we've got Pulse Chain coming. I mean, to me, everyone in crypto is going to want to be on Pulse Chain. I really don't know why they wouldn't, unless they're just that super maxi. I just love Cardano and that's all I do. And I just feel like people are realizing that mindset is just detrimental to you. It's like being intellectually dead. Like, nothing else exists that can be good in the whole world, right? But with Pulse, we've got so many awesome things that are happening, and we're starting off with such this army of a community, super, well resourced people from the top down, from financial resources to connections to everything, that I just think that we just need to just chill out and just be here for each other and just help each other win.
So what is Richard trying to do? Like, this is what I see, at least from a strategy side, is he's trying to build an economy underneath Hex through building his own L1 fork of Pulse Chain with Pulse Chain, and that in itself is going to underpin the long-term valuation of Hex as a store of value, because basically guys like me who are building stuff on Pulse Chain will hopefully bring in new users, and even the guys that are making shit coins on Pulse Chain will bring in new users. But hopefully we'll be actually doing lots of transactions and growing the brand, and eventually we'll get so big, if we do things correctly, that we'll have to be like Bitcoin, basically trying to lure governments to use us, or corporations and things like that. You need a community of aggressive, dedicated, working class Americans that know how to fucking do DeFi, right? So whoever really gets that community first, I think, is going to have an absolute monster on their hands. And I think the Hex community and the Pulse Chain community have a decent chance of doing that. I mean, there's other ones as well out there, and I'm not a maxi by any means, but I do think we have a decent chance of really just onboarding average Americans into this space. And if we do that, all the rich people, all the whales will follow, whether they like us or not. Right. But like basically we need to go get all those average Americans into this thing. And once they realize it's a movement, they don't care.
Preach it, brother.
We could actually outdo Uniswap. And if we do that, we'll be stronger than any of those centralized exchanges out there. That helps the little guy to get involved, because if they can actually participate in DeFi for 2 pennies versus 10 or 50 or $100, they might actually do it.
Exactly. I've got some friends who refused to do Ethereum trades because of the fees. Now, well, we all know what happened there. And they decided to stick to Binance Smart Chain. And I was like, guys, you have to check out this Pulse Chain. I'm a day one sacrificer.
For myself, I've seen what Ethereum did, and I know that if I would have, I was an Ethereum miner for 6 years. So if I would have taken the money that I put into mining, and if I would have just bought Ethereum every week, I would have retired, hands down. So I spent tons of money. I kept working at it. I did end up with some money and some Ethereum, and I'm happy I got involved, especially because I got involved early enough that it mattered. But I don't know. I sacrificed for Pulse, but I don't know if that's the best rate. But what I do know is bringing in more capital and consistently bringing in more capital, kind of like you do with your 401k, kind of like a robot. You just put a little bit in consistently. You are going to be most likely smiling at the end of those couple of years.
Thank you, though. I appreciate it for all of that. I will probably just buy Pulse and go for a holiday and come back in 5 years. I will do that then. Thank you.
A lot less stress, man. A lot less stress. Just sit on the beach drinking Coronas,
When Pulse Chain launches, it's going to be an ecosystem to have fun in. We're gonna launch, and things are going to go up, and people are going to make money, and then there's going to be another chain with a very similar ecosystem to that of Ethereum. And when you look at the way that the money is going to come in, to Pulse Chain, same as Ethereum, you got all these D apps. Well, you know what, apps such as the native utility Pulse, and the app, Pulsex, is going to make a lot of money. It's going to make a lot of money. And I think a down market is great. I tell everybody, the most money I've ever made has always been in down markets. So I'm not afraid of down markets. I actually like them, especially when you can do well in a down market. You can kind of expand in a down market, similar to someone that's very wealthy can expand in any market, right? A wealthy person don't have to buy at the bottom, right? A wealthy person can buy into whatever market they want to buy into. But people that are coming up, like myself, it takes a down market to get deep into real estate, a down market to get deep into, other things, whether it's crypto or whatever the case may be, because your money go a lot further, and you can take advantage of a high market.
I agree 100% with you. So,
I think walking in a profit, it takes years to walk in a profit. Some people would never have the patience to do it. Not to say that you don't make money, the first year within, say, a asset that go less than 0 to 10 cent, right, or 20 cent or 50 cent. Okay, you make money that first year, but when you walk in a profit, it really takes time and a lot of patience. So, me, I have the understanding to say that's that it's not, it's easier said than done, meaning that people, even if you got the money, you still have to have a change of mind to kind of look at your money different, to say, hey, instead of cashing out, why don't I put my money that I'm making into a time deposit so it makes money? Because once it start making money, then you're actually getting to the promised land of what money should be doing, which is making money for you. So I believe that when you look at Money Market TV, whether you look at Bloomberg Crypto on Tuesdays, which I advise everybody to kind of look at, they don't talk about, say, Richard Hart Project specifically, but the mentality and kind of what people are seeing in a volatile market, because anything with volatility is going to make money. It's the real estate money, the real estate market has volatility. The stock market has volatility. Hey, even fiat that you hold has volatility, right? So volatility is not necessarily just for crypto, but but they're all talking about long term strategies, which is, you know, building your yield over time. You know, so
Yeah,
they're talking
yeah,
about cryptos with utilities like staking features, time lock features, different type of features. For me, that's the ecosystem that Richard Hart is really giving us. Impulse chain is the ability to be at the very beginning of Ethereum, you know,
exactly,
ready for
exactly.
more adaptation. I just think it's a no brainer.
Exactly. Yeah,
I think that if you look at crypto as a store of value, then you can say, okay, which cryptos present the best store of value opportunities, and you can grab something and say, okay, well, maybe I want to store my value in a native token to a chain that's doing really good, or I want to store my value in a, you know, in a DEX, you know, in a utility that makes money on transactions, or maybe I want to store value in a time block or a certificate of deposit or something of that nature of a store of value. I say all three are great store values. It's just that Ethereum is just way too expensive for my blood right now. I wouldn't put the money that it takes for me to make the money I want to make in Ethereum. It's just too expensive. But I'll put it in Pulse for sure.
but I remember I've asked Gamma or Profex this question, or J Money, I don't remember who. If Pulsechain will have the same adoption as Ethereum, what will be gas fee? And the answer was the same, right?
What?
If
Pulsechain? No. Well, I mean,
sorry, is it 14 or 15 times more? We will have to have 14 or 15 more customers. Is that correct? Or maybe I may misunderstood.
so
Well, the underlying piping is to be able to handle more throughput, which means more transactions per second than Ethereum, and then keep the price lower longer, right? Eventually, if the amount of investors quadrupled, and say you had $7 trillion coming into crypto, right now we barely holding on to 1 trillion. Let's say it went up to 7 trillion from its top of 3 trillion, and all of those customers hit Ethereum and Pulse will always be less expensive than Ethereum, unless, you know, you all of a sudden had way more users on Pulse than Ethereum, if that makes any sense.
If there will be a way to avoid Ethereum to join Pulsechain.
I don't think
avoid? What do you mean? It'll never be able to directly, but there's just through bridges, I think.
Well, yeah,
You know.
there will be a bridge to
Uh-huh.
come directly from. I think
But I wanted to say something about those transactions. That's something that Richard was trying to um, do with validators. He was worried about the validators' transactions clogging up the network, or just putting more traffic on the network when you're, staking and finishing up the blocks with the validators. He was worried about all of those transactions just making fees a little higher. That's why he wanted to make it separate, and that was part of why he postponed Pulse Chain. He
yeah.
would make a separate contract to for the
Where
validators to use instead of
what
on
what he
chain.
moved, well, yeah, what he moved. So when he keeps on saying denial of service, what he's saying is you could congest the block to the point where you can shut stuff down. So what he did was he moved a lot of features outside of the block so that it doesn't affect the
Yeah.
EVM or what happens inside of the block, which was a foundational or a foundational change. You know, when so he built the foundation. So this is something that Ethereum probably wished they had done at the very beginning. And that stuff, that type of stuff is what Richard is taking advantage of. Is like, look, everything that they're trying to accomplish to make their gas fees less, to get their effectiveness and or their pipe bigger for the throughput of the block. This is difficult for them to do it because they have to go tear down a foundation and rebuild it or try to piecemeal it at certain levels, where he's doing it at the foundation. So, you know, so you're right in the sense that he's making a foundational improvement to Post, so that when it does launches, we probably won't find things that we wish we would have had done at the very beginning. Maybe till like 5 years down the line, like,
Oh
hey, we
yeah,
wish
there's
we would have
always
had found out
improvement.
that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
right. Right.
You never have it perfect. Yeah, there's always improvements on any technology. So yeah, I think with what's the name of the chain that just got hacked? Oh shit. I can't think of the name of the chain. Solana. They kept having DOS attacks and having the network shut down. Also, the Hoskinson's network, Cardano, had that problem too with DOS attacks. Like people are just congesting to where it shuts down the network, and people do that maliciously sometimes, even though you have a network with that could handle, millions of transactions a second. Someone will just send millions of transactions a second just to shut the shit down and be an asshole. So yeah, we'll always have problems that and always have solutions too. I hope, but I don't see that coming anytime soon for Pulsechain. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saying it's a possibility. Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely looking at the vulnerabilities associated with, say, financial type, vulnerabilities, whether people are able to, mint more coins than they should be able to do, and all different types of stuff. So he's very concerned about that type of stuff, which is good for us. I can't wait for it to launch. But then again, we're in a bear market where, depending on who you ask, we still got a ways to go, right? So I'm sitting back. Would love to see a return on investment from all of the for all of the sacrificing that we've been doing, or love to see that return on investment, that ROI. But are we, would you rather I would rather it happen right before a bull market, to be honest, when everybody's coming out to play, or maybe 30 days before. But we'll see when it happens.